Imagine a criminal so elusive, so mysterious, that she becomes a phantom in the eyes of police forces across Europe. For over a decade, she left a trail of DNA evidence at crime scenes that spanned multiple countries, baffling investigators and striking fear into communities. This is the story of the Phantom of Heilbronn, a ghostly figure who seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. But who was she really? And how did she manage to evade capture for so long? The Phantom of Heilbronn's reign of terror began with a series of small, seemingly unconnected crimes. From petty thefts to minor burglaries, the early incidents didn't raise alarm bells. But as the years went on, the crimes escalated in both frequency and severity. The first major crime that put the Phantom on the radar was a brutal assault in a quiet German town. The victim, a middle-aged woman, was left with severe injuries, and the only clue left behind was a single drop of blood containing the Phantom's DNA. This was just the beginning. The Phantom's DNA started appearing at crime scenes all over Europe, from Austria to France, and even as far as Belgium. Each new crime scene added to the growing legend of this elusive figure. The crimes varied widely: home invasions, car thefts, and even arson. But the most chilling of all was the murder of a police officer in Heilbronn, Germany. The officer's body was found with the Phantom's DNA on her uniform, sending shockwaves through the law enforcement community. The randomness of the crimes made it difficult for investigators to establish a pattern. One day, it would be a stolen car in Vienna. The next, a house fire in rural France. The Phantom seemed to have no specific target, no clear motive, and no discernible method, other than leaving her DNA behind. This unpredictability made her all the more terrifying. The early crimes were a grim prelude to what would become one of the most perplexing criminal investigations in European history. With each new incident, the Phantom's myth grew, and so did the fear and confusion among the public and the police. The trail of blood led investigators on a wild chase across borders, each new clue only deepening the mystery. How could one person be responsible for so many different crimes, in so many different places? This question haunted detectives and kept communities on edge as the Phantom's reign of terror continued unabated. As the crimes continued to pile up, the pressure on law enforcement to identify the Phantom of Heilbronn grew intense. The media frenzy surrounding the case fueled public fear and speculation. Who was this ghostly figure leaving a trail of DNA across Europe? Investigators began to piece together a profile of the Phantom. Based on the DNA evidence, they concluded that the suspect was a woman, an unusual detail in a world where most violent crimes are committed by men. This revelation added another layer of intrigue to the case. Theories about the Phantom's identity ranged from the plausible to the outlandish. Some believed she was a master criminal, skilled in the art of evasion and deception. Others speculated that she might be part of an organized crime syndicate, using her unique position to commit crimes across multiple countries. There were even whispers of a state-sponsored agent, using her crimes as a cover for espionage activities. The lack of any eyewitness accounts or concrete leads only deepened the mystery. Despite the extensive DNA evidence, the Phantom seemed to vanish into thin air after each crime, leaving investigators with nothing but questions. The randomness of the crimes made it difficult to predict where she would strike next, adding to the frustration of the detectives on the case. In an effort to catch the Phantom, police launched one of the largest manhunts in European history. They conducted DNA sweeps, questioned thousands of potential witnesses, and even enlisted the help of international law enforcement agencies. Yet every lead seemed to end in a deadlock, and the Phantom remained elusive. The case took a toll on the investigators, who were haunted by their inability to capture this ghostly figure. Each new crime scene felt like a personal failure, a reminder that the Phantom was always one step ahead. The pressure from the public and the media was relentless, and the detectives knew that they had to find answers, and fast. The turning point in the investigation came when forensic scientists began to re-examine the DNA evidence. They noticed inconsistencies that suggested the possibility of contamination. This realization set off a chain of events that would eventually unravel the mystery of the Phantom of Heilbronn. As the investigation into the Phantom of Heilbronn intensified, Forensic scientists played a crucial role in trying to solve the puzzle. DNA evidence was at the heart of the case, offering the most tangible link to the elusive criminal. But as the Phantom's DNA continued to appear at crime scenes across Europe, experts began to notice perplexing inconsistencies. The DNA samples collected from different crime scenes showed an exact match, yet the crimes varied widely in nature and geography. This raised questions about the reliability and handling of the DNA evidence. Could a single individual really be responsible for such a diverse array of criminal activities? Or was there something more sinister at play? Forensic scientists began to scrutinize the DNA collection process. They examined the chain of custody for each sample, ensuring that every step from the crime scene to the laboratory was meticulously documented. Despite these efforts, no immediate answers emerged, and the mystery deepened. The breakthrough came when a team of forensic experts decided to retest the DNA samples using newer, more advanced techniques. They discovered that the DNA profiles, though identical, had subtle anomalies. These anomalies suggested that the DNA might have been contaminated at some point during the collection or analysis process. To track down the source of the contamination, investigators turned their attention to the forensic swabs used to collect DNA at crime scenes. They traced these swabs back to a single manufacturing facility. Upon closer inspection, it was revealed that a factory worker's DNA had inadvertently contaminated the swabs during production. This worker's DNA had been transferred to multiple crime scenes, creating the illusion of a single, omnipresent phantom. This discovery was both shocking and enlightening. It explained why the Phantom's DNA had appeared at such a wide range of crime scenes, and why no other evidence pointed to a single suspect. The contaminated swabs had misled investigators, causing them to chase a ghost. The forensic scientists' meticulous work ultimately unraveled the DNA mystery, providing a crucial turning point in the investigation. Their findings highlighted the importance of rigorous quality control in forensic science, and the potential consequences of even small lapses. As the truth about the Phantom of Heilbronn began to emerge, the focus shifted from finding a master criminal to understanding how such a significant error could have occurred. The case served as a sobering reminder of the complexities and challenges inherent in forensic investigations. As the Phantom of Heilbronn's DNA continued to confound investigators, the urgency to catch this elusive criminal escalated to new heights. Law enforcement agencies across Europe pooled their resources, launching one of the most extensive manhunts in modern history. The search spanned multiple countries, involving hundreds of officers and detectives working tirelessly to track down any leads. Every crime scene where the Phantom's DNA appeared was scrutinized for additional clues. From Germany to Austria, and even as far as France and Italy, the hunt for the Phantom became an international effort. Interpol was brought in to coordinate the search, creating a centralized database to collate and analyze information from various jurisdictions. Task forces were established in key locations, each focusing on different aspects of the Phantom's activities. Public awareness campaigns were launched, urging citizens to report any suspicious activities. Posters with sketches of potential suspects were plastered across cities, and hotlines were set up to collect tips from the public. The media played a significant role, broadcasting updates and keeping the story in the headlines. Despite the massive scale of the manhunt, the Phantom remained elusive. Each new crime scene only added to the confusion as the DNA evidence continued to point to the same mysterious figure. The geographical spread of the crime suggested a highly mobile and resourceful individual, capable of crossing borders with ease. Theories about the Phantom's identity ranged from a lone serial offender to a sophisticated criminal network. Some speculated that the Phantom was using advanced technology to evade capture, while others believed that the crimes were being committed by different individuals working together. As weeks turned into months, frustration grew among the investigators. The lack of concrete evidence and the sheer number of crime scenes made it difficult to establish a clear pattern. The pressure to solve the case mounted as the public's fear and anxiety continued to rise. Then, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A forensic scientist in a small lab in Austria noticed a subtle anomaly in one of the DNA samples. This discovery led to a re-examination of the evidence, ultimately revealing the shocking truth behind the Phantom of Heilbronn. As the international manhunt for the Phantom of Heilbronn stretched on, frustration grew among investigators. Months of relentless pursuit had yielded no solid leads, and the public's anxiety continued to rise. But then, an unexpected breakthrough emerged from an unlikely source: a small forensic lab in Austria. One dedicated forensic scientist, poring over the DNA evidence yet again, noticed a subtle anomaly. This tiny detail, almost overlooked, prompted a re-examination of all the evidence collected so far. What they discovered would turn the investigation on its head. It was found that the DNA samples, which had been the cornerstone of the investigation, were contaminated. The source of this contamination? A batch of forensic swabs, manufactured at a single facility. These swabs had inadvertently been tainted with DNA from a factory worker during the production process. This worker's DNA had been transferred to the swabs, leading to the false identification of the Phantom at numerous crime scenes. The realization that the supposed Phantom was not a single elusive individual, but rather a product of contaminated forensic equipment, was both shocking and enlightening. The implications were profound. The faulty swabs had misled investigators for years, creating a phantom criminal that never actually existed. This scandal not only unraveled the mystery of the Phantom, but also highlighted significant flaws in forensic science practices. The case underscored the critical need for rigorous quality control and the potential consequences of lapses in standards. As the truth came to light, the investigators who had dedicated countless hours to the case felt a mix of relief and frustration. The public, too, was captivated by this unexpected twist. The Phantom of Heilbronn was unmasked, not as a cunning criminal mastermind, but as a product of human error and technological shortcomings. The lessons learned from this case are a stark reminder of the complexities and challenges inherent in modern forensic investigations. It serves as a cautionary tale about the potential for human error to create and perpetuate myths and misconceptions. The revelation of the contaminated DNA swabs not only unmasked the Phantom of Heilbronn, but also sent shockwaves through the forensic science community. The implications of this discovery were far-reaching and profound, leading to a re-evaluation of forensic practices around the world. Governments and law enforcement agencies were quick to respond. New regulations were implemented to ensure the highest standards of quality control in forensic laboratories. These measures included stricter oversight of manufacturing processes for forensic equipment and more rigorous testing protocols to prevent contamination. Forensic scientists, too, had to adapt. The scandal prompted a renewed emphasis on the importance of meticulousness and vigilance in their work. Training programs were updated to include lessons from the Phantom case, highlighting the potential consequences of even the smallest oversight. The Phantom of Heilbronn case also spurred advancements in forensic technology. Researchers and developers sought to create more reliable tools and methods for DNA analysis. Innovations such as contamination-resistant swabs and enhanced DNA sequencing techniques emerged, aiming to prevent similar errors in the future. The case served as a wake-up call, reminding everyone involved in the criminal justice system of the fallibility of forensic evidence. It underscored the need for continuous improvement and the importance of maintaining public trust in forensic science. But beyond the technical and procedural changes, the Phantom of Heilbronn case left a lasting impact on the perception of forensic science. It highlighted the delicate balance between science and justice, showing how easily that balance can be disrupted by human error. The scandal became a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most advanced technologies are not infallible. As we move forward, the lessons learned from this case continue to shape the field of forensic science. The quest for accuracy and reliability remains paramount, driven by the desire to ensure that justice is served without compromise. The Phantom of Heilbronn may have been a product of flawed practices, but its legacy is one of progress and reform. The Phantom of Heilbronn may have been a figment of forensic error, but the human cost of this mistake was painfully real. Over the course of the investigation, countless lives were touched, disrupted, and forever changed by the specter of a phantom criminal. Let's meet some of the individuals who were most affected. First, there's the family of Michelle Kiesewetter, the police officer whose death initially brought the Phantom into the spotlight. Her family was left grappling with grief and unanswered questions, their pain amplified by the confusion surrounding the investigation. They had to endure years of uncertainty, as the search for her killer seemed to lead nowhere. Then, there were the wrongly accused. Innocent people found themselves under suspicion, their lives turned upside down by the presence of the Phantom's DNA at crime scenes they had never visited. Imagine the fear and frustration of being implicated in crimes you didn't commit, simply because of a contaminated swab. One such individual, a small-time shopkeeper, was accused of being involved in a burglary ring because the Phantom's DNA was found at his store. His reputation was tarnished, and his business suffered as a result. The emotional and financial toll was immense, and he is still working to rebuild his life. The Phantom of Heilbronn case also cast a long shadow over the communities where these crimes took place. Residents lived in fear, wondering if they might be the next target. The sense of safety and security was shattered, replaced by an atmosphere of suspicion and anxiety. Finally, we must consider the impact on the law enforcement officers and forensic scientists who dedicated themselves to solving the case. For years, they poured their hearts and souls into the investigation, only to discover that their efforts had been based on faulty evidence. The realization that they had been chasing a phantom took a heavy emotional toll, leading to feelings of frustration, guilt, and disillusionment. The Phantom of Heilbronn case serves as a stark reminder that behind every criminal investigation are real people whose lives are profoundly affected. The families of victims, the wrongly accused, and the communities left in fear all bear the scars of this tragic mistake. As we reflect on their stories, we are reminded of the importance of accuracy and integrity in forensic science. The lessons learned from the Phantom case must guide us as we strive to ensure that justice is served, not just in the courtroom, but in the lives of those who seek it. As the Phantom of Heilbronn case unfolded, the media played a significant role in shaping public perception. Sensational headlines and dramatic news reports fueled a media frenzy that captivated audiences across Europe. News outlets were quick to latch onto the mysterious nature of the Phantom, turning the case into a gripping saga that dominated the news cycle for years. The public's imagination was captured by the idea of an elusive criminal who seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. The media's portrayal of the Phantom as an almost supernatural figure added to the sense of fear and intrigue. People followed every development, every new crime scene, with bated breath, wondering when the Phantom would strike next. This constant media coverage had a profound impact on public fear. Communities where the Phantom's DNA had been found were particularly affected. Residents lived in a state of heightened anxiety, worried that they might become the next target. The sense of safety and security that people once took for granted was shattered, replaced by an atmosphere of suspicion and unease. Parents kept a closer watch on their children, local businesses increased security measures, and people hesitated to go out alone at night. The fear of the unknown, of a criminal who could strike at any time, anywhere, took a heavy toll on the collective psyche. The media's role in amplifying public fear cannot be understated. While their coverage brought attention to the case and kept the public informed, it also contributed to a climate of panic and uncertainty. The relentless focus on the Phantom's supposed omnipresence created a sense of helplessness among the public, who felt that no one was safe. In addition to fueling fear, the media coverage also put immense pressure on law enforcement agencies. The public demanded answers and swift action, and the constant scrutiny made the already challenging investigation even more difficult. Detectives and forensic scientists worked tirelessly, knowing that every move they made was being watched and judged by the public and the media. The Phantom of Heilbronn case serves as a powerful example of how media coverage can shape public perception and influence the course of an investigation. While the media played a crucial role in keeping the story alive and bringing attention to the case, it also contributed to a climate of fear and anxiety that affected countless lives. As we reflect on the media's role in this case, we are reminded of the importance of responsible reporting and the need to balance the public's right to know with the potential impact on those involved. The Phantom of Heilbronn may have been a figment of forensic error, but the fear and panic it generated were all too real. As the dust settled on the Phantom of Heilbronn case, it became clear that this was more than just a story of forensic failure. It was a cautionary tale with profound implications for the field of forensic science and criminal investigations. The revelations surrounding the Phantom forced law enforcement agencies to reevaluate their methods and protocols. The case highlighted the critical importance of maintaining rigorous standards in the collection and analysis of forensic evidence. Contaminated swabs and outdated equipment had led to years of confusion and false leads, underscoring the need for continuous improvement and vigilance. Forensic scientists and investigators learned valuable lessons about the potential pitfalls of relying too heavily on DNA evidence without considering other factors. The case demonstrated that even the most advanced technologies are not infallible, and that human error can have far-reaching consequences. This realization prompted a renewed focus on training, quality control, and the development of new, more reliable techniques. The Phantom of Heilbronn case also served as a reminder of the power of media in shaping public perception. Sensational headlines and dramatic news reports had fueled fear and anxiety, affecting countless lives and putting immense pressure on law enforcement. The case underscored the need for responsible reporting and a balanced approach to covering criminal investigations. For the communities affected by the Phantom's supposed presence, the truth brought a sense of relief, but also left lingering questions. How had this happened? Could it happen again? The experience left a lasting impact on their sense of security and trust in the system. In the end, the Phantom of Heilbronn was not a cunning criminal mastermind, but a product of human error and technological shortcomings. The case serves as a powerful reminder that the pursuit of justice is a complex and often imperfect process. It challenges us to remain vigilant, to learn from our mistakes, and to strive for better. As we reflect on the lessons learned from this extraordinary case, we are reminded of the importance of humility, integrity, and continuous improvement in the field of forensic science. The Phantom of Heilbronn may have been unmasked, but the journey towards a more just and reliable system continues. Stay tuned as we delve into more intriguing cases and uncover the hidden stories behind some of the world's most perplexing mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking content.